Hi, I'm Gary Carmell, author of The Philosophical Investor, Transforming Wisdom into Wealth. It seems to me, over the ages, philosophers are often trying to find what is nirvana, what is the Holy Grail, how does someone really find deep meaning, joy, and connection in their lives. And I think I've found it in the world of investments. I think it's a term I've coined because I haven't heard it anywhere else, but I call it a Munger Moment, named after Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's brilliant, brilliant partner and one of my heroes. It actually has great application to one's life as well, beyond just the investment arena. A Munger Moment is one of those situations where it seems like everything you've been working towards comes together in such a way that if you take the appropriate action at the appropriate time, can change the course of your life in an extraordinarily beneficial way. Munger gave a description of a situation in a very thorough manner that talked about how he and Warren Buffett avoided a terrible risk that so many other investors were falling prey to. And by avoiding that risk, they were able to then take advantage of the unfolding carnage that resulted and make a tremendous amount of money. And he said that there are those rare moments in life when, because you have a curious and analytical mind that plays with multiple variables from multiple disciplines, economics, psychology, history, sociology, politics, etc., that you have this unique ability to determine that the odds are so overwhelmingly in your favor, that the reward so outweighs the risk, that all you need then are the resources and the courage to take advantage of that opportunity. The resources are built up as a result of past prudence and patience. As a result of staying out of the fray when everyone jumped in at the top, you were able to reflect, think, take a step back, and conclude this is crazy. People are making a terrible, terrible mistake. And by showing the patience and prudence, you then have avoided the avalanche that has subsumed all the people that were on the mountain. And now you're at a point where lift tickets are being offered at great, great discounts by the owners of the ski resort because people are afraid to get back on that mountain when in fact it could be the safest time to be there. And so you've identified this extraordinary set of conditions where the odds are so favorable to you. You now have the ability to take advantage of it because people are digging themselves out and you don't have to do that, and you have access to money. So now you just need the courage. It's one thing to come up with the idea, to analyze it, recognize it as an opportunity, but those moments are fleeting. They don't last forever, so you have to take action. And those choices we make and those actions that we take can change the course of a lifetime in incalculable ways. For example, the people we meet, our spouses, where you decide to work, where you send your children to school. There's all of these various ways that these Munger moments can unfold beyond just the financial realm. And so it's one thing to, analytically and intellectually describe a Munger moment, and then there's another thing to actually have experienced it. And I can say that we have in my career at CWS a couple of times. One was prior to getting into apartments, we were actually one of the largest owner-operators of manufactured housing communities in the country. And we decided to make a strategic move with that business that culminated in essentially the selling of that business to another firm because we saw things unfolding there that were of deep concern. And this was in 1998 that this transaction took place. Everything that happened in subprime financing with all of the terrible mortgage lending and the fraudulent loans happened in mobile home lending in the 90s. We didn't like what we were seeing. We were seeing that people that couldn't afford to buy these homes were being offered really expensive mortgages that were just accidents waiting to happen. So to make a long story short, we sold that business in 1998 in a complicated transaction that finished in 2000. The year we sold it, manufactured housing shipments were 375,000 units in 1998. Well, in the last few years, they're down to 50 or 60,000 units. So that industry completely collapsed because our concerns about what we saw unfolding materialized. So we were able to move the money out of that business into apartments and really catapult our apartment segment of our business into a much more rapidly growing, larger footprint. And that turned out to be ultimately a really, really good thing to do. We avoided the collapse of an industry and went into a different aspect of real estate that turned out to be much more lucrative. The second example is in the wake of the subprime crisis and the collapse of single-family housing in 2008, 2009, 2010, we saw this unfolding phenomenon and trend of home ownership going away and heading towards much more of a renter nation. And being in the apartment business, we saw this as a once-in-a-generation opportunity. The odds were clearly in our favor. Single-family housing was on the outs. Mortgage lending was tightening up. Renting was hugely necessary to help people build and rebuild their credit. Financing was very difficult to come by for single-family borrowers and home builders, and there was no new construction of apartments. So we thought that all the households, or the vast majority of the households that would be formed in the economy that was improving, that would become renter households. And we turned out to be correct. And we took advantage of that opportunity quite aggressively. And we're much better off for it. I think our investors have really seen significant rewards because of their willingness to back us in what we thought was a Munger moment, and we believe has turned out to be so. To read my latest thinking and to learn more about my book, please go to GaryCarmell.com.